Hi, forest friends! Seems that you've caught me watering my garden. Nothing's growing in here just yet, as I just planted my seeds about a week ago, maybe a little less. But they're sure loving the water and the sunshine today. Now that I finished that, I was thinking maybe we could read some stories and have a really fun seeking activity that we can do today outside in our backyards as well. So the first story I'd like to read you is one that I'm really excited to read because I actually just finished writing it a couple days ago. And it's a really fun story, and I hope that you all really like it. It's called The Lizard at the Crossroads. I was peeling an orange on my morning walk and looked up to find myself at a fork in the road. I can continue down the sidewalk on the left, as I usually do, or I could take the path on the right. The path on the right is mostly out of sight, as there's lots of trees and rocks blocking the view. But out of the corner of my eye, I see up, down, up, down, up. A lizard's head was popping up and down from just behind a large rock. Oh, hello, lizard. I see that you're doing push-ups and that you are strong. I'm not trying to threaten your home. You see, I was just peeling my orange as I was trying to make a decision. And just then I put my orange in my pocket to save for later. Actually, would you mind if I ask your advice, lizard? The lizard nodded up and down. Which path do you think I should take? The sidewalk that I'm most comfortable with? Or the unfamiliar path filled with trees, rocks, and who knows what else? Immediately the lizard leapt onto my shirt and landed right in the center of my chest. Aha, thanks, lizard. I understood this response meant I should listen to my heart, and my heart was longing to adventure the new path. Thanks, lizard. I've decided to be brave and listen to my heart. Would you like to hop off now? Lizard started to move, but instead of hopping off, the lizard climbed up to my shoulder to join the adventure. All right, let's walk this new path together. The terrain was a little uneven, unlike the flat sidewalk I was used to. Some parts of the ground required me to take really tall steps over logs and large rocks, kind of like our forest. And other parts were really slippery and muddy, requiring me to almost slide down the path. Look, lizard, a raspberry bush. I walked over to the bush and asked if I could take a couple of sweet raspberries for Lizard and myself. The raspberry bush nodded up and down in the wind, and Lizard and I thanked the bush as our mouths exploded with fresh, warm raspberry juice. Wow, Lizard, look over there, a beautiful climbing tree. I asked the tree if it would be okay to climb up, and after receiving an up and down nod, I began pulling myself up on the sturdy branches, all the way to the very top. Wow, this view is amazing! And look, there's a lake a little further down this path. Let's go! And we thanked the tree for the fresh air and the beautiful view and made our way to the lake. Here it is. The sign read, Happiness Lake. Hello, Happiness Lake. Would you mind if I went for a swim? The waves on the water rippled in my direction. Thanks. I was about to get in the water when Lizard nudged my neck. I understood that this was Lizard's stop. Wow, thank you so much for being my adventure companion today. I understand now that I'm never alone when I'm in nature, and taking new paths can lead to previously undiscovered happiness. Lizard walked off my body onto the rock and bowed down at goodbye. Splash! I jumped into the lake and swam with the fish all the rest of the afternoon. And I finally ate my orange, and I sang songs with the birds and the frogs to give thanks for the sunshine that keeps my body warm and healthy. So that is the Lizard at the Crossroads story. I really love that story a lot. I really appreciate how both Lizard and the human were really excited to just take a new path and discover something that they haven't really discovered before. And I think it does take a lot of bravery and seems that they really got to enjoy their happiness. So, well, I'm hearing the birds sing right now, and it sounds like they're singing like we were earlier today. And I also have noticed that there's a big tree behind me. This is the maple tree that's in my backyard, and I really love this maple tree. In fact, I really love all trees. And I was thinking that the next story I could tell you is called Who Will Plant a Tree? And so this book is all about who's gonna plant a tree. Written by Jerry Pellotta. I wonder who will plant a tree. Last fall, a squirrel buried an acorn, and he didn't know it, but he planted an oak tree. Seeds stuck to the messy fur of an apple-eating black bear. The bear tripped, seed fell off, and he planted the apple tree. A goose migrated with a chestnut burr stuck to her feathers. Oh, forest friends, we have these burrs in our forest. They seem to get stuck on us sometimes, and sometimes we make bears out of them. And miles away, the burr came off, and she planted a chestnut tree. A dolphin pushed a coconut into the ocean currents. The coconut floated to an island and planted, and a palm tree grew. Ants marched a pine nut down in their tunnel, and they didn't know it, but they planted a pine tree. Cherry seeds got caught on the tail of a wild horse. She swished her tail, and a seed fell off and grew into a cherry tree. A beaver used a sharp teeth to chop down a maple tree. Oh, that's just like my maple tree behind me. Crash! Maple trees were planted along the riverbank. Playful monkeys threw figs at each other, and they planted fig trees. A moose got a pear tree branch stuck in its antlers. Oh, look at that, stuck in the moose's antlers. And it walked and walked, and as pears fell off, trees were planted. Thanks for planting the trees, moose. An owl swallowed a mouse that had been eating elm tree seeds. Later, the owl coughed up an owl pellet, and an elm tree grew. In the Amazon River, a pacu ate a floating fruit. It pooped seeds. There trees were planted all over in the rainforest. A camel chewed some dates and then spit the seeds out. It wasn't long before a seed grew into a date palm tree. A wren flies to her nest with a juniper berry in her beak. Oops, the tasty berry fell. The wren planted a juniper tree. I'm thinking a lot about our juniper tree lately. A teacher taught her students all about trees. They went on a field trip and planted trees. What fun! I'm waiting for my seeds to grow that I planted in the garden, which y'all got to see earlier. Oh, in the last page, wait a second, did an elephant plant a tree? You see that scat? Elephant looks like it planted a tree too. Something is growing from it. A great time of year to plant as it's springtime and the weather's starting to warm up. And there'll be lots of rain from our summer showers that water our plants. Alright, forest friends, the last thing that I have for us today is a really fun activity. And I just think that it's so exciting, the many different patterns that exist between humans and nature. So in this next activity, we are going to seek out all of the different patterns that we can find in nature that are similar between humans and nature. So I'll give a couple of examples. Last night, I was looking at the moon, and I was noticing the shape of the moon. And then, I was also noticing the shape of my thumbnail. Can y'all see the curve of my thumbnail? And how it looks similar to the curve of this moon? It's pretty incredible. Yeah. I also noticed that when I was looking at this tree here, and actually as well I was looking at this leaves that are growing in my backyard, that they look really similar to my handprint. There's lines with other lines branching out of them. I also noticed that there's swirls on my thumbprint. Like a little close, I'm not sure if you can. So I noticed that there's swirls on my thumbprint, and there's also swirls on the stump that I saw this morning on my morning walk. And then I was walking and I saw this beautiful sunflower blooming. And because that sunflower was blooming, I remembered that my friend just took a picture of me, and in that picture she said, "Your eyes look like sunflowers." Here's the photo. And if you look closely, you can see in the middle of my eye that there is the shape of a flower. And then I was walking and walking and walking down my street, and I saw this big rock, and this big rock had like speckles all over it. And I was like, wow, that reminds me of freckles. Like, I have a little bit of freckles, and one of my friends has freckles on her nose, and it looks a lot like the freckles on these rocks. And then, one that was even really cool is when I was on my morning walk, I noticed an aspen tree. And this aspen tree had a big eye on it. And this eye looks just like my eyes as well, and yours too. And so in this activity, I was thinking we can go out and hunt down all the different patterns that we see that are similar between ourselves and our nature, like in our backyard. And so once we find all of these, I was thinking it'd be really great, maybe we can record it in a nature journal, or after that we can maybe even draw. It would be really fun to draw the shapes of like a branching pattern using a stick, and you can use it to draw on the soil. Or we can build the shape with rocks, or we can even draw it with a pencil and paper. And so I think after we do this, maybe can you find anything else that I missed? Any patterns that you noticed that I didn't notice? What about, can you find anything in your backyard that looks like a face, like a human face? I'm looking around my backyard and not seeing it, but I'll have to search a little bit harder. Well, I hope you have fun hunting and seeking for your patterns in nature, and I'm going to be doing the same thing as well. If you find some things that are really exciting, feel free to share them with me. You can send them in an email, and I'll send them out to the whole group, and so that way they can also see which patterns you find as well.